I know I've been gone for a while, but at least I have something to show for it. This is my new to me 1988 Argo Magnum. It's an 8-wheel drive amphibious machine with snow-going tracks, a huge payload, and I've wanted one for as long as I can remember. It also came with tracks and a trailer, both of which will eventually get their own episode. Throughout this video series, we'll go over this 33-year-old machine, find and fix its issues, and then make some improvements, like adding a bilge pump and maybe a cabin down the road. I eventually want to make this Argo my own ultimate hunting, exploring, and adventure vehicle. For this first video though, we'll just focus on giving the Argo a general checkup and make sure that it's even worth proceeding with. We'll start the real work in the next video, when I have all the parts and fluids I need. I bought this Argo almost sight unseen. They're pretty rare here and sell very quickly. So let's dig in and make sure I didn't get scammed again. So this 88 Magnum is an 8-wheel drive. They came in 6 or 8 wheels. You can see that these wheels have what are called swim tires on them, which are pretty popular. They still come on most new Argos now, and they're really nice tires because they fit well inside of tracks. And of course, you can swim with them when they're off, and they're just sort of decent all-around tires. I also have a very homemade plate here for what looks like a small outboard motor. I think these are rated for 9.9 horsepower. I've got a little hitch down there. Lots of seating in the back. They're quite a bit of room back here. This one also happens to have, you'll have to ignore the salt that's here. This was trailered. So aside from the salt, these seats are in beautiful shape. Really nice shape. No rips, tears. This front seat, it's exactly the same way. It's beautiful. It must have been reupholstered at some point. Yeah, really nice shape. And this is their kind of control area here. You can see the hours, and this is why I bought this machine. Very low hours, 275 hours on this machine. It has an 18 horsepower, I believe, Kohler engine, which is what came in the industrial variants, which is what this is. I've got a battery gauge there, choke, keys. Those 2 levers control your tracks, or control your tires, sorry, so 1 for each side. This has tank controls, or skid steer, some people call them. That's your transmission. This is, I'm lucky to have one that has a low and high gear. And then I've got a warning light, an oil temperature gauge, which is definitely wrong. It's right around 24 below right now, so that's not true. And then inside of that cap, I haven't opened this actually, but I'm pretty certain that this was a 12-volt outlet. I think. That's about, oh, I never noticed a sticker here. What do you say? Sold and serviced. Oh, Dartmouth and Main Street. Holy shit. I had no idea. I don't live in Dartmouth. That's one province over. But that is where I used to live. I actually spent most of my childhood there, so that's really neat. The Tim Hortons cup didn't come with it. This is mine. But this very fancy, highly optional tin can cup holder did come with it. Look at that. Definitely made for Tim Hortons cups. So these are really neat little things. There's another service tag here, which if this will focus, I get a kick into this. This vehicle is not intended for sale or use in the United States of America. It's not safe for you if you're in the States. Not safe. So that's pretty much it. They're really simple vehicles in design. They're chain drive. There's an open differential in the front and then a set of chains that goes to each tires in the rear, and that's how it moves, that's how it steers. This one also has a winch. I think it works. I'm not really going to trust it, but you know, it's nice to have it. I'll probably end up replacing it anyway. So I haven't done a whole lot of poking around on this, like I said. I think we're going to probably tear into this together. I like to have a little bit of footage of this. I know this is really different from the usual footage that I put out with the International and the bigger trucks, and you can actually see just behind us, my 454 is sitting there. So this is a little different for that, but you know, it's winter time. This fits in my garage, and yeah, I think it'll be a fun project for us. So we'll get into it. So before we go any farther with the cleaning or maintenance, I want to first take that floor pan and lift it out of there, because underneath that floor pan are the frame rails, and attached to those, or beside those frame rails, are the chains, the drive chains. And it's important that we get a look at those, because if we open it up and find out that those frame rails are rotten, and sometimes they are, because remember, this is amphibious, there's a lot of water in there sometimes, then we're in a lot of trouble. We're going to have to make sure we can weld that up first. Oh, I guess this must be a controller for the winch that I No idea it was there. Nice thing about these old Argos, you know, that's how easy disassembly is. If I can get this up in the camera. There we go. Everything in here, even the bottom of that pan, is always covered in grease because of those chains. So, take a look at the chains and the frame, and I am really tickled. Let's get you off of that platform. So we just take a look at these frame rails. Sorry for the lack of light, my little handy light just died, but they're actually in fantastic shape. What you're seeing on them isn't rust on the top there, it's actually just salt and grime and gook. Oh, but these rails are in great shape. Oh yeah, that's really nice. That's good. That's a big load off. That's something I was really worried about. You see even this steel pan here in the bottom. Yeah, it's really common for that to be pretty badly rust pitted because again, water sits in here when it comes in. And yeah, looks great. We also have what I think, yep, look at that. That's a drain plug. So this has at least one, I think probably two holes for water to drain out of. Looking around for them, where are they on this model? Back here somewhere, I'll have to find, oh yeah, look, there's one. See him just at the tip of my finger? Yeah, it doesn't come up very well. Anyway, there's one there. There's one on this side, just to the right of that shadow. That's too dark for you to see. But that's good. That's good progress too. Oh, well, look at those chains also. And the chains, now they are freshly greased, which I can see, but there's also kind of a line of debris and stuff on them. And in them, and just down here in general. So I think this is a good spot to start cleaning. And yeah, we'll give this a little bit of a cleanup before I work on it. It's so salty and gross for me and Trailer down here that, yeah, clean it up a little bit first. See how she looks. Salt might stick to everything up here and have a real way of making it look ugly. But it certainly does come off easy. Boy, does it make a big difference. So we're going to do the other side, and yeah, we'll move up front. I don't know how well this comes up on camera, but there's a little bit of splatter under here. Looks like moisture in the exhaust. Because this is an older model, this was a little bit before they were liquid cooled, so I'm not really worried about that. That definitely is just, you know, snow and stuff getting in and then heating up and blowing out, because there's just no coolant in there to actually to blow out. So I'm not worried about that. Yeah, and it comes right off anyway. We just popped the cover off our engine bay. We can see the Argo Magnum 18, which is a nice little industrial 4-stroke motor. And we look inside there, peep in the back, not a lot of room. We can see that there's 2 master cylinders there, 1 for each lever, and they control our brakes. And just beside it is our transmission. Attached onto the side of our transmission is the CVT. Well, a pulley for the CVT anyway. If you look further down, you can see some mess of 80s wiring, along with some custom work there. Looks like we're missing a couple of fuses. There's a rubber boot there, right? There's the tip of my finger there. That doesn't seem to go to anything. But otherwise, it's not too bad. It's clean looking. So, yeah, I say we take that air cleaner off and see what kind of condition she's in. Generally speaking, you kind of know when you're going to work on something, whether it's going to be standard or metric. With this being made in the 80s in Ontario, I think we're probably going to find a mix of both. Not that I think that bolt, or that nut rather, is original anyway. Doesn't look anything like the other one on there. Let's get that off. Ooh, I need a deep one for that guy. You certainly aren't in there very tight. You know, considering the low mileage on this motor, only 270 hours, probably covered that in the intro. I wouldn't be surprised to take this off and find out that it was the original air cleaner. I haven't been in here before. I've done very little poking around in this motor. I had a washer and nylon nut, and wow. Yep, that's... Okay, well, looks like we've got a foam pre-filter, which is common on the industrial models like this one. Let's get him off there without tearing him. It's fine. Looks kind of hard to tell if that discoloration there is oil or just age. It's not falling apart to touch it, so that's good. These guys up. Great move. All right, he is, yeah, he's looking not great. We've just flick this light off. Bring him up close. Yeah, those veins are looking pretty far gone. Actually, you may not be able to see it on the camera, but I can see light through some of them. So this filter isn't doing very much. It'll have to be replaced for sure. What holds you on? Just this one guy here? All right, let's get him off too. I think this will be 11 mil like the other thing was. I'm thinking it's a little smaller. Nope. It's really unusual, even in Canada. You don't see a lot of 11 mil. 11 mil I find doesn't get a whole lot of use. Everything is 10 mil. All right. There we go. I'll turn the light back on. Hopefully this doesn't cause any too much distortion for you guys. This camera setup is new. It's just my new phone, but it records in 4K. My old one did not. I'm going to give it a try. Hopefully there's none of those streaky lines you get sometimes with LEDs. All right. So there is our carburetor. And, well, you know what? Right away, I see a newer fuel line. Well, newer is pretty relative. That's pretty hard. It's pretty solid. But it's not original to the machine. But it's nice just to see things like that, and you know it's at least been worked on. This looks like a breather tube there, I'd say. All right, oil fill. Is there a choke or a throttle? I don't see any plates inside there moving. You might just be able to see that on the camera. Yeah, not really. That's all right. So I've already had him running. I know that it runs fine. It runs really rich. But it does run fine. What in the fine? Oh, okay. Well, it looks like... Sorry, I shut the camera off by mistake. So it looks like someone has put a return spring on here, which is fine, except they've got it threaded into either the idle, the idle or the main jet screw there for some reason. Now, this machine runs really, really, really rich. You can smell the fuel, and there's no choke at all necessary for startup. It's about 25 below today, with wind 16 ambient, 16 below. And as soon as you touch the throttle, she turns on after being cold all night. So I know for sure she's running really rich. So we'll address that later, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. Right now, we're just going to look for problems. So we've got that air cleaner out. I think next thing we do is let's check engine oil. It's really not too dark, to tell you the truth. Let's put that. Maybe just a hair over full. I know colors don't come up well on camera, especially with this light there. It probably looks a little blown out for you, but that's really not dirty oil. I will clean it anyway, because I want to know that there's quality oil in it, and not water or fuel. And I'm not Derek from Vice Grip Garage. I'm not going to taste it. Yeah, but it definitely does have a little bit of a fuel smell to it. So I don't know how long this sat before I got a hold of it. I know it was last registered in 2016, but it's definitely been driven since then. Apparently this was the best spot that Argo could think of to put the transmission dipstick, right next to the shifter handle. It's hard to know if you're supposed to come in from the front like I did, or from the engine bay where the camera is sitting. The weird shape also makes it tricky to get it out without banging it off the shifter handle. I had to fiddle around with it before I even filmed anything just to get it to work. You might also notice that my shifter is currently held in by nails. Super classy. Alright, well, I don't know how I feel about that color. It's certainly very thick. A little greenish down below. I think I'm probably going to play it safe and drain it. I'm going to pop this back in first though, and check just to see, get a better view of where the fluid's at while it's sitting level. Now, it's not quite as cold inside of this garage as it is outside. It is still well below zero. So this fluid is very deep. Don't fall over on me now. Bother threading in. I'm just going to do that. Wrap up. Actually, yeah, a little bit of garbage in there. A little shiny too. Probably some flakes. This could be, God knows how old this fluid is. It's up to about that crushed mark there. I'm not sure in this older Argo if that's correct or not. I think that probably it is. But one more thing we'll add to the list. All right, I figure the next thing we'll take a look at are these two master cylinders here. Now, this is driven, you can't really see it off camera, but there's two separate handlebars and one brake. That's interesting. One brakes each side of the tracks, and each one has their own master cylinder. And I don't know why this guy has got this. What are you for? You got a Kraken anyway. I wonder. Oh, Jesus. Oh, that is going to strip it for sure. Don't want that. Any more luck with you, I wonder? Oh, yeah. Oh, you're loose as can be. Tell you what, I'm going to spray the other ones down while I work on this one. Alright, this one is getting AC Delco penetrating fluid. Not starting fluid. Come on. There we go. Let them sit. I'll get that back there too. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion I'm not going to like what I see in here, so I'm not too worried about sort of contaminating it with starting fluid, or with penetrating fluid rather. Set you up there so I can forget about you. Could be hard to get to. I'm a little nervous to touch any of this wire, and I can see that there's been, oh, that's nice and easy too. I can see that there's been some custom work done. Just kind of a polite way to phrase that. Actually, if it's not too blown out by the light, you look right there at the tip, that is just exposed wire. I'm pretty sure it runs to my starter. Actually, yeah, I know it does. Or right now, does it? Let's see. Yeah. That's my solenoid there. Let's get him out of there. Sorry for the terrible camera angle. This is an awkward spot to be working. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, is that one on upside down? Is that? Okay. All right. Wow. Yeah, I'll take you out the stand and give you a better look. So, I mean, I did figure that there was going to be, you know, some grossness in the fluid, but that's really, look at that. If you look off to the right, you can see all the particles suspended in there. That's it's really not breaking fluid at all. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know that fluids especially have a hard time on camera. But you can see there's actually a layer of, it's probably water. No, that wouldn't make sense because water is heavier. Anyway, there's a layer of something on top of that, guys. You know what? It could be mostly water and just a layer of brake fluid on top of that. Yeah, that's atrocious. So I'm going to let those other ones sit. And it looks like we're going to be getting some, I believe, .5 brake fluid. Joy. So the way that the brakes actually work on this Argo, so you've got two handles. One works one side of the tracks, the other handle works the other side of the tracks, and that's how you steer. When the brakes lock up on one side, you turn towards that side. So it's a pretty simple system. It's a skid steer. You see, here's the levers, and if I pull it down, you can just see where that goes into the master cylinder there. And that's pretty simple. That master cylinder sends fluid through this line, and it comes down to there. And we've got two brake calipers, and to be honest, they look just like ones you'd see in a vehicle. And there's the one on the other side. You recognize they're bleeder screws. And if we take a look at those, adjust my lights here. Take a look at those pads. There's a little bit of meat left on those pads on that side. I may replace them, but they're okay for now. This guy, there's lots of meat on those ones. So that means one of two things. Either that side was replaced before, or more than likely it's just not biting properly. We've also got these discs. You'll have to excuse my light here. I'm in kind of a cramped quarter. So I've also got the discs. I can't give you a side view of the discs, but if I feel it with my finger, there is just absolutely no burr. I see this one a little bit better. There's no burr there at all. So those are in really nice shape, which is good because I have no idea what they'd cost to replace. So as far as brakes go, kind of a mixed bag. The cheap stuff we're going to have replaced. The expensive things look okay. And yeah, I'll take that. When it comes to the brakes, there's still one thing I haven't figured out. Even though I can get both sides to activate fine by pulling on the respective levers, I don't know how the parking brake works. On some of these, there's a hand park brake there, or actually also on the other side, but on this one, there's not. Now, we do have these levers here, which I suspect in some way compromise the parking brake, but as of right now, even if I pull the brake down and push on them, they do nothing. Now there are some little adjustment screws. You can just see the heads of them poking out underneath. So that'll be a project for later on, because being able to put this on a hill and leave it there and know it's going to be back when you come back from hunting or going through the woods, yeah, it's kind of a big deal. Now the last thing I want to check out before I take off tonight are these tires, bearings, and axles. And you might notice just by looking at it that the one where you're at, this guy right there, is noticeably bigger than the one beside him and a few other ones. So That guy up front was actually way inflated when I first got it. These tires are only supposed to have about 1.5 to 3 pounds of pressure, depending on if you've got tracks or not. I don't know what was in that one. I'm guessing probably close to 10. It was way taller, and it's still overinflated. And if you come over to the other side, yeah, it doesn't come through as well on camera, but same thing here. Some of these tires are way rounder than the other ones, and I've already let a bunch of air out. So what I'm going to do is put this Argo up on stands, and we are going to test for bearing play. I hope that there won't be any, but I suspect that there probably will be. The bearings are kind of all that keep the water from flowing in around the axles and into the tub on these, so they usually fail pretty frequently. And if I had to hazard a guess, I'd say these ones have probably never been done. So here's hoping. All right, so she's up off the ground now. Hard to tell from your perspective, but all the wheels on this side, except for the very back one, are up, and it is chalk. So now we'll check for bearing play. Which, yeah, bearing play here for sure. I'm gonna be able to see it, but I can certainly feel it. That bearing is pretty toasted. We'll check this one. Yeah, that guy's got it too. Not a great start. Yeah. All right, well, the 3 I can test on this side are all bad. Let's try the other side. Maybe we'll have a little more luck. Yep, that guy's bad for sure. This one's less bad. This is the best of them so far, actually. It's not too bad. Oh, wow. This guy's really bad here. I'll pick the back ones up too and check them, but to be honest, even if I don't feel any play in them, I'm probably just going to replace them anyway. You may as well do them all at one time. So I think that's going to do it for the first episode on the Argo series. In the next episode, which you can see I've already started, we're going to get those axles off, take the bearings off, make sure the axles are hopefully not damaged, because that could really slow the project down. And then wait for a few more parts to come in that we might need to get it back on the road. So if you enjoyed the first part, thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more, you can subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.